Chairman Ruiz, to the Unanue family. This award, I'm told, is symbolic of the Goya sign that sits atop the Goya manufacturing factory. Thank you very much for that. And very importantly, for your immense contributions to our country. Señor Embajador, Señor Consul, last year's honoree, the first honoree and always the first honoree, Jorge Plasencia, who does such a wonderful, wonderful job. And I'm very proud, as Bennett said, that my son John Paul can be with us this evening, John Paul Cisneros, who is with Palladium Capital at the Palladium Capital table. Thank you, guys, for being here tonight. If I may just go off script for one moment, we have with us this evening the publisher of People en Español, who made a special effort to be here. She has children, and I told her she should have gone home a long time ago, but she is here. Her name is Monique Manzo, and today they gave me a copy of the new People en Español magazine that has my wife's photograph in it among 25 most influential Latinas in the United States. So please, no. Please please join me in recognizing the publisher of this very important cultural periodical in the Latino world in the United States. Monique Manzo, if you would stand and let us recognize you. Thank you very much to the U.S.-Spain Chamber of Commerce for this recognition. I am from a city that recognizes, indeed celebrates, one might even say adores the Spanish heritage. My city was founded relatively late by Spaniards in 1691. I say late because the oldest city in the United States was founded by Spaniards in the 1500s in Florida, San Agustin. Again, the oldest city in the United States founded by Spaniards. San Antonio was founded in 1691, and the Franciscan who associated, Father Margil, who was with the exploration of soldiers who came to the area, found this verdant river and talked about an oasis in the hot desert conditions of South Texas. That oasis is what today we call the San Antonio River, the Riverwalk, but it was first identified by Spaniards, as so many other places across America. Places like the West Texas town that's associated with yellow sunsets, and they named it Amarillo. It's the modern city of Amarillo. Or Albuquerque for the Duke of Albuquerque, or Pueblo Colorado, or San Diego, or all of those cities along the California coast named for saints and dotted with missions. Santa Barbara, San Francisco, Sacramento, and of course, the place we call L.A., but the Spanish called Nuestra Señora de los Ángeles de la Purísima Concepción. That's a long name, so we grace it as L.A. They came to this state of beautiful sunsets and they named it Colorado, and the place of the great snowfalls, and they named it Nevada. And then, I am told, they came to this area up in the far northwest and encountered a tribe with large ears. They named it for the Orejones, and we call it Oregon. I don't know. I don't know whether there's any truth to that. But the same report tells me that they went further north into the frozen tundra and they wrote on their maps, Acá nada. And today we call it Canada. But what an incredible spirit of exploration and pioneering, of colonizing, of faith, of leaving a built environment of architecture, of organizing governments, of leaving a tradition of food and clothing. An amazing people. I must tell you, one of my favorite spots in San Antonio. We have 5 missions, the one that's known as the Alamo, but then also San Jose, Concepcion, Espada, and San Juan. all dotting the San Antonio River. My favorite place in San Antonio, a place to contemplate, to reflect, is to go to one of those missions. Small, rustic, built around 1731. And just imagine what it was like. The soldiers, the Franciscan missionaries, the Indians who were being evangelized and working, the settlers, the Canary Islanders who were brought over by the Spanish government to populate the region. What an amazing people to confront the heat and the danger, the uncertainty of the southwestern United States, and yet to be there alone, separated from family for years, maybe decades, in order to build New Spain. An amazing, amazing tradition that speaks volumes of a people. Today we find the same spirit among Spaniards who are building in the United States a system of banks, of infrastructure. Mr. Ruiz was telling me earlier that of the 10 largest construction companies in the world, 6 are Spanish. Investments in fashion with names like Paloma Picasso and Carolina Herrera dotting the landscape of fashion innovations, food. It's an immensely important time for Spain. As Spain at home confronts the realities of demographic change and fiscal issues and the challenges that confront every nation in the world and Europe, and finding the spirit to build around the world. It's a wonderful convergence that spirit on the part of Spain matches the perfect moment for Latinos within the United States, which, as Mr. Ruiz and Bennett and Bob said earlier, is the fastest growing population in the United States. The 57 million Latinos, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Central Americans, South Americans, Dominicans, people from the Caribbean, 57 million would be the second largest Spanish-speaking population in the world if it were a nation. And while it is not a nation, in many respects, it has the capacity to be respected as an identifiable force. It's $1.3 trillion in GDP, spending, consumer expenditures, which is also the second largest GDP if this was a national force. So the combination of Spain's presence in the United States and the growth of this population with a special relationship with Spain is, I think, very important. The government of Spain, the companies of Spain, led by aggressive leaders such as the officials of this Chamber of Commerce, are active in Mexico, are active in Central America, are active in South America. And again, what a wonderful convergence of timing. Mexico is undergoing a resurgence. I've been there twice in the last month and seen the effects of President Peña Nieto's energy reforms beginning to take hold. I think we're going to see a Brazil-like period of growth in Mexico over the course of the next decade. And then, of course, there is Brazil itself, one of the BRIC nations, not a Spanish speaker, technically Portuguese, but nevertheless, in the heart of Latin America, a major force, one of the more robust economies in the world, even as it's down at the moment. Countries like Colombia, with a strong sense of law and order now. Chile, with its strong economic principles and regime. Argentina. The countries of Central America, Costa Rica, which is always called the Switzerland of Central America, as it functions without an army and takes its money and puts it into education and manpower training. Countries like Panama, which is booming now, but will be more so after the Panama Canal is widened and plays an even larger force in the world. And Spain's presence in the region is special. It's special for a variety of reasons. One is the sheer know-how of Spanish companies, their long traditions. They're trusted in the region. They have established infrastructure in the region, platforms for business. Secondly, the Spanish language is a unifying force. Unlike countries that come from other parts of the world, perhaps from China or Germany or some of the other European nations, the Spanish language is a unifying force in this immensely dynamic region of the Americas. And then finally, I would say among the intangibles is the Spanish character, a character that I tried to describe earlier as a character of exploration, a character of pioneering, a character of reaching beyond limits, a character of being particularly skilled in organizing and administration. It's a powerful force and one which this chamber seeks to flesh out and develop. I'm very proud to be from San Antonio, a city named for the feast day of the saint on which the Spanish arrived, June 13th, the feast day of Saint Anthony, San Antonio. They named immediately their first church there, San Fernando, which I'm told is named for the King of Spain at the time, Ferdinand, San Fernando, and the only king in the pantheon of Catholic saints who was a king and a saint. That's a very difficult feat to accomplish, to be a king and a saint. But San Fernando managed to pull that off. So these are the traditions with which we grew up in San Antonio, and we've made a special effort to reach out to Spain. I'm pleased that this evening, in the audience is a young woman named Cristina Bazaldua, who I would like to ask to stand. She is a representative of the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. The San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is the first Hispanic chamber in the United States, the largest Hispanic chamber in the United States, and frequently judged the best Hispanic chamber in the United States. And she is the organizer now of 4 trips to Spain for San Antonio businesses, the latest having been 1 month ago. So we're serious about outreach to Spain, a two-way commerce that enables San Antonio Hispanic businesses to open up trade relationships with Spain, but also that enables Spanish companies to have an entry port into the United States for such things as the infrastructure investment that we're seeing in Texas in roads and water and electricity by Spanish companies. So let me just close by saying once again, thank you for this recognition, and thank you to this U.S.-Spain Chamber of Commerce for your work. This is much more than a social endeavor. It's much more than a wonderful venue for gathering together for an evening of a pleasant meal and celebration. This is really a serious business endeavor that promises at a time of difficulty around the world to recognize the special bonds that exist between the United States and Spain through the American Latino community as having a special pathway, a special bridge to assure that as Spain faces the challenges of the future, it will always be recognized as the one country in Europe that has invested half a millennium in the Americas, and that has a special claim to trading and business relationships that will maintain its strength even as it contributes to the strength of these nations, and particularly this emerging nation within a nation, the American Latino community. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this tonight.